The Newfoundland Hobbyist is sponsored in part by Robinson's General Store in Middle Arm, Noble's Timber Mart with locations in Springdale and Bayvert, Knife and Axe found at youngandmackenzie.ca, Outdoor Pros located in Mount Pearl, Newfoundland. It's around 12:30, 1 o'clock in the day here now, and it is just an amazing day. My buddy Cody, everyone likes crazy Cody. And he's just so foolish and crazy off camera as he is on camera. It's just what he's like. But we're in for the finale today, the final episode of this season of the Newfoundland Hobbyist, and we got a fantastic meal plan. The weather, which is amazing, it's a little bit windy, but not overly cold. Hoping to cook up some great food once we find a good little spot to settle down. Today, just a bolt action. This is a Savage Mark II. It's a Mark IIG with the hardwood stuff. Just brought it under the small game license in case I see a suitable animal. It's so interesting walking with fresh snow here like this, just a dust of fresh snow. You can see tracks of all the different types of animals, especially if you're used to recognizing what you're looking at. And it's so fun to see all the evidence of the rabbit being chased by the coyote. The tracks all spread out, and you see where they're jutting around. The rabbit runs under some tree limbs and different things like that. It's just amazing. It's so much fun to kind of trace it out and imagine what happened. Man, she's dead on the money at that distance. Absolutely dead on. Just a couple target shots, and it is cold. It's nice when you just pull off your gloves at first and the sun is beating on you, but you spend a few minutes like this fiddling around, no gloves on, it gets raw, I tell you. Now, we've been walking around for a little bit because it's been so windy, so we're trying to find a good little spot to poke in. What we've come up with is this little space here. This seems like it's the perfect little space to crawl inside with no wind. We brought the little sled today because, just like the finale last year, we are going to be using the Dutch oven to cook with. Now, if you've never seen a Dutch oven, you're in for a treat today. It's so heavy, I hate bringing it in the woods. But in the winter like this with the sled, it's no real burden. But we're just going to offload the gear here, and then we have to go around. Oh, that's that Dutch oven. Then we can take the sled and go get some dry dead wood. A lot of the area we're in here was burn over, probably about, what, Cody, 30, 40 years ago?
30, 40 years, yeah.
30, 40 years ago it was burned, so you can still pick up burned stumps and stuff, and they tend to be dry. They kind of burn on the outside, so they don't take in a lot of moisture and rain like green stuff does. And so we'll hopefully go fill up the sled and bring some back. Hopefully we'll get a fire going. We recently had a lot of rain just 3-4 days ago. We had a full day of super mild, pouring down rain. So we're just hoping we can get a fire going. So we're gonna give it a shot. Oh, Cody. Oh, Cody. Look at this.
Oh, wow.
Carrying the council tool, this is the Woodcraft pack axe. This is a beautiful axe. lot easier to split down when it's on attached to the stump. Right. It's not bad actually. So what I'm doing here now, this is a birch tree. They're not everywhere, but they're pretty prominent throughout different parts of Newfoundland. This would be like a white or a paper birch, silver birch some people call them. And this outside bark is really heavily saturated with oils and resin, and it's also very thin and papery. It takes a ferro rod spark well, and because of those oils, it burns extremely well. It burns really hot. So if you can come across some in the woods when you're out foraging around, you can come across a birch tree, try to get some. It'll really help you with your fire lighting. Now some people, and I used to do this when I was a kid, if you take a knife and score down the tree, you can really open up a heavy paper of the birch, and I could probably cut down here like this now and peel out off like an 8x11 sheet of paper. But doing that then leaves the tree exposed to the elements and bugs and disease and whatnot. So you don't want to do that. Only take what's light and hang it off the tree. That's not benefiting the tree anyways, so it doesn't hurt to take it off. So don't cut into the tree, just peel off the loose stuff.
What are you singing?
Trim up our little spot here.
What are you singing?
Hey?
What are you singing?
I'm not singing.
No, imagine.
It wouldn't me. Just about to light the fire. Hopefully it works here. I've got my bake apple, one of my customs, and some birch here. Woo, look at that. That wasn't too bad. Now if we can get it in around our fire, where I've got some birch stuffed in there, hopefully she'll take. Remember, things are awfully wet today, really wet. Okay, so now while we finally have the fire going, and it took a while nursing it, I tell you, to get the moisture out of that wood, get enough heat built up, here we have our Dutch oven. Last year for the finale we did stew. This time you'll have to guess what we're making when you see the ingredients go in. So the first thing to go in here is some ground beef. Our ground beef is broke down. We have onions, mushrooms, red pepper in there, broken down. And what did you just throw in, Skipper?
Red kidney beans.
A can of red kidney beans, and you're probably starting to clue in now to what we're cooking up here.
Cooking rat food.
It's long past lunchtime. Did you have dinner home?
No.
No. So neither of us have eaten since breakfast. We are hungry. So we're trying to expedite this process as much as possible. Got a beautiful fire there for cooking right now. Now Cody is going in with a can of, what's that? Red tomatoes.
Crushed red tomatoes, yep.
Crushed red tomatoes.
That's Clark's beans. This is the normal cans of beans that we usually take in the woods for our regular fry-ups and cook-ups with bacon and other stuff. So it's that flavor that we're used to having in the woods. So we're going to put this in our chili today because it's white bean. We haven't got any white beans in there yet. So yeah, I think this is going to go add some nice taste to this today. There we go. We got a big pot of chili today. This is massive. This is for 4 people, you know. Now, let's get some spices, yeah?
What are you putting in there now?
Cumin. Nice healthy dose of cumin. Cumin goes in little ways, but this is the stuff.
What do you got there now?
This is chili powder. I come in from India. This is
strong crust eyes.
Yes, that's enough for that pot.
Really? That little bit?
What do we got here? Oh yeah, she's starting to come together now.
Just putting the kettle on here now to boil for a tea, and I wanted to show you guys this new little kettle that I have here. This is a beautiful little outfit, stainless steel. I had it as a gift from a company. I'll throw the link down there in the description now. If you're watching on YouTube, the link will be down in the description. Highly recommend it. Like I said, all stainless and super cheap. I think it's something like $15 Canadian. Beautiful. You've got this steel fold-away handle. It comes with a piece for hanging as well, but I didn't bring that today. But yeah, just a beautifully sized can for eating out of, or a small kettle for 2 mugs, noodles, anything like that. It's just excellent. Oh, look at that. That cover on, look at the moisture that's building up in there, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Give her a little stir before we... Oh, Cody. That's sensible we got made there. That's sensible. You ready to eat yours?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Our label also sponsored by the same company as the kettle came from. This is actually a titanium mug. This thing is awesome. It's a little more money, but it's beautiful. It's almost weightless. There's yours, Skipper. You mind if I pass the blessing?
Yeah.
Dear Lord, thank you for this food we're about to eat. Thank you for mine and Cody's families. Thank you for my my little precious baby developing in the womb right now.
Seriously?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Serious right now.
No way.
Yeah.
I thought that. Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
No way. Call number 2 on the way. Oh, that's awesome, man. Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
We did it again.
By the way, that chili is absolutely amazing. Definitely got some heat in there. I didn't think it was going to with the small amount of chili powder he put in. I kind of questioned it, but whew. So we have those convex bevels roughed in on both, although it looks pretty good to here. This is up to a 220 grit, and our convexing turned out beautifully. If you run your hand down over like that, it's just a beautiful constant gradient as it rounds into our edge.
And they will anchor
8:30 at night, guys, and I'm still here sanding away. And this is the finish we're up to, which is 180 grit finish. Let you guys check out that color there before we pop her into the forge. So we have that even black, almost looks like a black DLC or a black oxide finish here. See our heat line here. We didn't heat up or we didn't quench the tang back here. We stopped our quench about right here, which you can see. So this is actually a little bit further. It's kind of up around this line here. You can actually see this diagonal, because we did quench on a diagonal, so that means we have some softness here, and we'll bring this one down to a little bit softer, probably around a 58, 59 HRC. We'll take this one out a little earlier so it's a little harder, because it's not going to undergo the same brunt of use. I'm using a little bit of cold cutting fluid here. Just helps keep the sandpaper clean, keeps the dust down. I just enjoy working with it, makes the whole process a little nicer. This is a 220 grit finish here now, so we did 180 and then 220 you're seeing here, which is a beautiful finish. We're going to go further. Just accidentally ran my finger along that edge. Didn't realize it was getting sharp, and I got a little bit careless, I guess, in sanding, and I just opened her up there right along. Just sanding like this. My wife's gonna be mad with me again. She says every time I come out here I end up doing something to myself. I tell her it's just the law of averages, because I spent so much time working with blades and edges. So here are our two blades at this point. So they're hand sanded up to 2000 grit and then buffed on the wheel with some polishing compound, and they look amazing. This companion here just came out so beautiful. Look at that convex grind transitions into the ricasso there. Really proud of the work on this one. This is a great pattern, great design blade, really good looking knife. And of course this beast, this is a crazy knife. This thing is going to be a monster when it's done. We get those scales on there. We're doing matching scales for both of them. Now all our scales have been drilled, the pinholes are drilled. Here we go. And there she is, all stacked up. squeeze it with some clamps. Well, here we are, my favorite day, which is finishing those handles. Like I said, this is when we get to see the knife we actually built. First thing we're going to do is use the bandsaw here to take off all the excess material. Here are those handles super rough ground in, but you can see that two-tone color, which I am super proud of. Just look how that looks with those pins. This material, you can see the reds in it now. Just like I said, once you've opened it up and carved away the polished surface, we'll get it back to a polished surface where it'll be nice and dark and elegant again. But right now, I'm going to clamp it in the vise, and we're going to use some files and file it into our proper shape. After a lot of sanding, what we came up with is this right here. So we have two matching handles, the stacked red coral canvas micarta, so it's kind of like a burgundy color, and we have it stacked with that coyote brown. Just look at that. Those mosaic pins, just so classy. Trying to do my best to relay the color to you guys, and here in this light, seems like you can see it here now. It's a little easier to see with the eye. You can see all the different tones here in this burgundy, but just look at that. Those pins. What do you think of those pins? And mixed with that tan. Just look at that finish. Those seams there are absolutely flawless. There's just not a space anywhere. And an addicting process. So much fun using this tool. This is going to sit on the front of this sheath, which we have here now, okay? So this is just glued up with a ferrule loop, and we have dangler on the back. He wanted a dangler, so we're doing a strap which will go through a belt, which is removable. And there we have it. Look at that. And just like that, this project is done. Anyways guys, just finishing up, sipping a tea here, and then we're heading home because we're both cold, although Billy's very full. We ate that entire pot of chili between the two of us in probably about 15-20 minutes. I really hope you guys enjoyed this season of the Newfoundland Hobbyist. I want to give a big shout out to my sponsors. Guys, if you have the opportunity, you've seen the sponsors' names over and over in these shows for the past couple months now. If you have the opportunity, please go and support them in some way. If you're living local enough to them that you can physically support them, that would be great. If they have online stores, which some of them do, it would be awesome if you could support them in some way. Of course, you guys, the audience, I need to thank you guys big time. You are the whole reason we put off this show in the first place. Without everyone watching, the show would be absolutely pointless. So I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the kind words. I've had lots of people come up to me in person when I've been traveling different parts of Newfoundland. That's been really rewarding and fun as well. Big thank you to my buddy Cody here, who's been on several adventures for me. He always helps out with the film work. It's a lot of help. So that's it for this final episode. I really hope you enjoyed this season of the Newfoundland Hobbyists.